Hey there everyone, Hitesh here and welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to talk about Python in 2019. Now Python is a great programming language. It is very powerful and with great power comes great responsibility. Python is also a very popular programming language and this popularity is both good and bad. I know it's one of the easiest programming language. You absolutely love Python. You cannot just stand any word against it. And this same popularity of Python is stopping that the actual truth about Python comes out. Now don't get me wrong here. Python is my favorite too. In fact, it was one of the programming language which I got started and got my journey into the programming world. But there are certain things about Python that you should know. I will talk about variety of things in Python, and of course I will also walk you through what should be your path to get started with Python. If you want to go into machine learning, AI, deep learning, or maybe you want to go into web or maybe system administration. I will also walk you through with the guide path of all these fields, as well as I'll point out some of the defects of the Python as well that should be talked about. I know a lot of people, just when I say that I will talk about some of the downsides of Python, a lot of people will come up into the comment section and will say, how dare you to say anything against Python? But that should not be the case. The truth should be out here. Everybody should understand what should be the use case of Python, and we're going to talk a whole lot about it. I will also share my journey with Python. But first and foremost, I need to get a jacket because it's really cold in Jaipur. In case you are thinking that Python is one of the first programming language that I learned, you are mistaken, my friend. It's not like that. I am from an engineering background and I got started with C as my first programming language, didn't like it much, moved into C++ and I loved it. But eventually time came that I wanted to move into new language and want to do a ton of more stuff. Especially one of the need for my project was opening up variety of files, Excel files, PDF files, and there was no easy way of doing that using C++. And I thought that I'm going to move into new programming language. Now, Python was the ultimate choice that I made. It took me a little while to adjust with the syntax of Python because I was coming from a background of C++, but everything was so fun in Python. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm talking about the era where information was not so much abundance, the internet was not so much great in my country at least, and it was not so much easy. Right now in the current world, if you just click a search on Django course or maybe any other course, you can find plethora of internet courses, online books and blog articles that can walk you through and that can guide you. But in my time, it was not so much easy. Even finding books on particular topics like Django or Flask or any other Python framework was not that much easy. But still, at that time even, there were so many blogs and articles on Python and books were pretty easy to find as compared to other frameworks. And still, not many frameworks were there, like Node.js and all these things were not available at that time. The ultimate reason to choose Python was basically I was into the system admin task and moreover pen testing task. So the reason I wanted to pick up Python because I have so many of the tasks where I need to open up some files, especially the pcap file, which is a file being generated by Wireshark for the traffic analysis. So that's one of my tasks. And there was no such good and easy way to open up these pcap files and filter out some data from those files. So Python was the ultimate choice that I did. And I was lucky that Python was able to do all of this with such a breeze. Even at that time, Python was one of the most popular choice among the pen testers and system admin. But it was not that much popular of a choice for the web developers, and still machine learning was known with the name of data mining, so it was not that much of a popular thing at that era. Things are totally changed now. It's not like that. Information is plethora on the internet and there are so many frameworks to work with Python. But this brings us back to our question, Python and its popularity. Now, being in the popular market is okay, it's totally absolutely fine. But trying to do everything with just one programming language again is a stupid move. How do I know? Because I was at that place one time. I wanted to do each and everything with just Python. I know. When I look back right now, it sounds really stupid. But right now you're on that position. You want to do everything with Python. That's fine because eventually you will grow up, you will get maturity and you will look back onto yourself just like me. Yep, I have no shame in admitting that I wanted to do everything in just one programming language because I want me to share all of this information with you so that you can look back and see and realize, yes, it's totally naive to see that Python can do each and everything. No, it cannot. Python is great, I'll give you on that. But doing everything with Python is not so great. Every single week, I receive at least 2 or 3 emails that says, hey, can I do Android development in Python? Hey, can I do iOS development in Python? I just want to use Python and not any other programming language. Now, the answer is not so straightforward like yes and no. If you just want to know it, yes, you can do Android development in Python. There are certain frameworks that can convert your existing code from Python to your Java or Kotlin. There are so many things available. But do you really want to do it? If you really want to do it, that's a stupid move. Don't do that. Don't take programming language as personal things. They are not. They are just a tool of building something. And if you have to choose something like Android and iOS and you are still stuck with Python, that's a wrong choice, my friend. Don't do it. Don't do it. Consider this as an off-topic example. Sachin Tendulkar, in case you know, if you live in the Asian countries, cricket is a big game. And Sachin Tendulkar is one of my favorite batsmen. But if you'll pick Sachin and will bring him in the basketball, he's not going to perform well. He's not going to be my personal favorite. Still, Kobe is going to be there. Or maybe if you are an old-time fan, maybe Jordan or maybe Shaquille O'Neal. So there are a lot of other players that you might want to pick up from that particular sport. So pick up your sport and pick your perfect player according to that sport. So the ultimate big question is, where should I use Python? Now Python is basically a scripting programming language. Mainly, it was first being used majorly for system administration tasks. A lot of things that you want to automate in the system admin, especially the Linux stuff. It was most popular at that time in that era, and still it's one of the greatest programming language if you want to analyze anything. Whether that analysis is just for the system files or maybe some Excel files, it is a great programming language for that. And still a lot of system admins use that for some cron jobs that you want to have, and in case you are doing any certification that is associated with Linux or Linux, as however you want to spell that out, especially in the Red Hat department, whether that RHCE, RHCSA or some security certification from Red Hat, Python is one of the languages that you might want to master. Moving on to the next phase, which is still one of the most popular one among the Python. I know it's not machine learning, it is pen testing. Now, pen testing is something in which you might want to avoid a lot of programming language. It's usually the case, but eventually you will get into the phase where you have to analyze tons of files and tons of log files, which is no fun to analyze. And in that case, you might want to have a knowledge of some of the scripting programming language. And Python can be a great choice for that. So in case you are looking up to go forward into the pen testing domain, you definitely should pick up Python. And not just picking up the Python, just alone learning the syntax of loops and if-else things, not gonna help much. So what should you do once you master the loops and classes and objects of Python? Let me walk you through as well. And this is also going to work for web and machine learning and all of that. So before I walk you into the path, we have talked about the system admins and Linux stuff. We have talked about the pen testing stuff. There are a couple of more that I want to talk. For the web development, Python is also a great choice, and in fact one of the easiest choice that you can make up. Now I know for the web development and especially for the framework part, I know there are a lot of frameworks and libraries available, and there are many other choices as well, like PHP, ASP.NET, maybe Ruby on Rails, or maybe the popular one which is Node.js. But still, there are some frameworks in Python, both micro frameworks and the big time frameworks, which can make your task easier. And in fact, if you'll take a notice or survey or any other popular blogs out there, you will notice that Django is one of the most popular frameworks among startups. The reason being is it is so much easier to make your product and prototype up and running quickly using the Python and Django. And that's why most of the startups love to choose them. And there's nothing wrong even moving forward along with the Django. It's one of the easiest one of the popular one, and security wise there are so many inbuilt features that helps you to secure your product. So that's why it's one of the favorite resource of the startups as well as big scale companies as well. Definitely there is no shortage of the frameworks and libraries in Python. One of the other one is Flask as well, and Flask is something which you can master really quickly. I usually don't say this out loud, but probably if you are a seasoned developer, You can master Flask in just like a week or 2 weeks. By master, I don't mean to say that you will be absolutely guru of that, but surely you will be able to make quick prototype and CRUD based tasks in Flask very quickly. But still, I would recommend you to go the hard way. Try and get your hands dirty with Django. You will thank me later on. Django is very popular, and especially if you are living in India, it is so much easier to find jobs with Django, especially in the southern part of the country. On a side note, this reminds me of my early days. When I was working with the Python, these frameworks like Django or Flask, they were not that much popular. And internet was not so much abundance that you can just Google it and find that any framework that I can make websites in or can make my web-based products. So we had to go through with the libraries, ask our library guy that, hey, please bring us this book. Usually they say no, then you look out for third-party resources, street vendors to bring some book on Django. It was so much tough. And internet was not that much great that you can just stream through videos just like you are doing it right now. So be thankful that internet is now so much good and good quality that you can learn anything. So be thankful about that and post down that if you are thankful about internet right now in the comment section. Let's address now the elephant of the room: machine learning, AI, and deep learning. So yes, Python is one of the most popular choice for machine learning, AI, and data science, and eventually deep learning as well. And in fact, I can put up some more jargon words, but that doesn't make sense. Let's keep it everything under the bundle of machine learning. And yes, I'm putting up everything here. That's not fair and correct, but I'm putting everything here, including data science as well. So let's talk about ML for Python. Now, Python obviously is a great choice for machine learning. As I mentioned earlier in the video, if you want to analyze any given file or data set, Python is one of the great choice. Given the fact that Python is not one of the fastest programming language, but still it uses a lot of C++ libraries here. Fumble on the library there. Under the hood, if you look onto your favorite given library for machine learning, under the hood, most of them are using C++. So at the end of the day, C++ is doing a lot of calculation jobs for you, whether that's any given. I don't want to name any one of them, but yes, under the hood, they are using it. Now, working in the core C++ for doing analysis on these big, gigantic files is faster, but it's not user-friendly. And by user, I mean programmers like you and me. So Python comes up as handy choice there because the Python is one of the simplest programming language and it makes everything easier in terms of writing code. And especially when you go into a little bit more depth of Python, and with the modern things like IPython and Jupyter Python notebooks, it is so much easier to write everything. Even also you can write your research paper now in variety of notebooks and can put them as a resource work. Now moving back onto the part, yes, a lot of Python libraries are so much famous for doing machine learning, and it's one of the great programming language if you want to do analysis. So if I had to go with the machine learning path, I would definitely opt out with Python. Now, I don't have any grudge with R. It is still a great programming language, but I'm not that much familiar and I don't code much in R. Simply the reason Python is multi-use for me. I can build up my web application as well and can solve a variety of tasks with the Python as well. That's why only reason I don't choose R. But that doesn't mean it's a great programming language. It is definitely amazing one. But since I don't work it, that's why I'm saying I'm not the best person to ask about R. Probably there is some other guy on YouTube who can definitely walk you through with the R resource. But let's stick to the Python because the video title says so. So these are some of the strong points of Python. If you want to choose Python as your programming language, these are some of the strong points. But what you don't want to do with Python is definitely not Android development. Is it possible? Yes, of course. Do I want to do iOS development with Python? No, not on any given day. Especially there are a lot of other things in Python. One of the things which I still avoid doing with Python is building GUI apps. The graphical user interface app for the desktops can be designed in Python. There are so many libraries. One of the popular one is tkinter. There are a lot of other names which people call it as well. Some call it as just inter. Some call it as, there are a ton of names for that. I just call it as tkinter. Bash me if you want to for that, but I just call it that. Again, I usually avoid that because the designing part in tkinter with Python is not so much great. Your app doesn't look really amazing unless you use some of the third-party choices, but there are better options for designing GUIs for desktop. One of them is Electron.js. In fact, the most popular one, the Postman, which you might have used. while building some of the web apps is totally designed in Electron. In fact, if I just have to choose anything, I would even go for Java because that is obviously a better choice in designing desktop application. So Python is not so great in all the fields. Surely it is in some, but not in all of them. Now that that is clear up, obviously you might want to get started with Python because you're watching this video. So what should be the ideal path of getting started with Python? Let's talk about it too. If you want to get started with Python, congratulations, it's a great choice. But say it out loud, Python is just a tool. I will never get senti about it. Because I know I have been onto that phase where getting out of the Python world is super tough. So don't do that. Take it a word of advice from somebody who has been onto that path. So yes, let's get started with Python. Now obviously there are a variety of resources, some which I have created, some which other amazing creators have created. So it doesn't matter from where you choose that. It's totally on you. So first and foremost, you might want to get friendly with the syntax. Now if you're choosing Python as your first programming language, that's fine too. You can directly jump into that. You don't need C or Java or any other programming language to get started with Python. It can be your first programming language. Now moving into that, first go ahead and it will be much more easier for you to understand because variables, loops, if-else, these all have very familiar and very easier syntax. Now some of the things with the Python are a little bit trickier. Like especially with the loops, or if you want to access something from the end of the loop, array or from the start of the array, they do have their own tricks that you can work around with Python. So go ahead, explore all of them. After that, go and get started with object-oriented programming. Now, you are in 2019 almost, and you don't want to avoid anything related to object-oriented programming. Things like classes, objects, the concept of polymorphism, abstraction, and inheritance should be absolutely clear to you. It is not necessary that you clear them up with only Python or maybe Java or maybe C++. It doesn't matter. They are the concepts and they apply for all programming language. So understand them properly. This should be your very first step. Once you are done with understanding the basic syntax of Python, you might want to explore a few libraries first. Now, I'm not talking about exploring the libraries related to web or machine learning or anything else. Explore some of the basic libraries. One of the one which I recommend is Beautiful Soup. It is one of my favorite library. I try to play around with quite a lot because it gives me understanding of Python as a language as well as its power quite a lot. In case you want to explore, I do have a free playlist on my channel which explores about web scraping using Python. Again, one of the tasks which is used by web administrator quite a lot and other administrator as well. So try to understand these web scraping first. I highly recommend to take a look on some of the videos that I put it on this channel. I'll link them in the description section as well. They will help you to understand the true power and true nature as well as the working things in the Python. So go ahead, do some web scraping. Once you are done with the web scraping, explore other libraries as well. Learn how you can open up some of the files like PCAP files from Wireshark, or you might want to open up some of the Excel files or PDF documents and try to just open them using Python. Try to read what's them inside the file because as a Python programmer, this is the most common thing that you will be doing. And in case you have some extra time, just try to give some time on regex as well, regular expression. With the help of regular expression and in combination of Python, you can take your skills to very next level. But be aware, regex is not so much easy to understand. It's very short, kind of a programming, it would not be an easier to say that regex is a programming language. It's just a pattern matching thing. And itself, it's not much more easier. So give yourself some time, don't be in a hurry. Just try to give yourself more potential with the help of these regex and in the combination of Python. You will love that, and you can just take this Python thing on steroids with regular expressions. Learning regular expression is totally optional. Let's just say you don't want to do it. Now give yourself time of 2 or 3 days. Don't be in a hurry. As I always say, programming cannot be learned just being in a hurry. So give yourself some time, and you might want to explore some libraries of Python. Just don't code in them, just have a look. Get a feel that how does this library looks like and how they are going to help you in future. There are a ton of blogs and resources. A lot of blogs have been written on Learn Code Online as well. And you can explore them, that what are the amazing libraries in Python, maybe for web, maybe for data scraping, maybe for machine learning. Just have a look on them. The more knowledge that yes, this library exists, can you make your life much more easier in the future. So give yourself a break of 2-3 days. Just explore the ton of libraries. Don't get involved much. And finally, the time is here where you might want to decide what you want to do with Python, whether that's enhancing your skills in web scraping, by the way, which is high in demand, or maybe you want to invest your Python things with the web development skills and want to do complete web development with Python. Django is going to be one of the choice. I'll link down in the description about one of my course on Django in which you build like 5 or 6 projects as well so that you understand the Django in much better syntax. Or if you have decided that I'm going to invest my Python skills in pen testing, definitely go out, and there is one book by Pact Publication. I'll link down in the description section. I was initial author of that book, but then I turned down that offer that hey, I will not be able to continue it after writing a couple of chapters, and I created instead a video course on that. So I'll link down a description about one Pact book for the Python for pen testers. It's a great book. You might want to check that out. After that, in case you decided that no, pen testing is not for me, web development is not for me, I want to go for the buzzword. I want to go for machine learning. I know I sounded it a little bit bad that if you're choosing machine learning, that's bad. No, it's not. It was not my intention, but I now realize that. So in case you want to go for machine learning, that is absolutely an amazing choice. You cannot go wrong with that. Now, learning Python should be your first decision, and I'm not saying just learning. You should be absolutely comfortable in Python because machine learning doesn't start with Python. It starts with implementing some of the libraries on Python. Libraries that you might want to explore are NumPy and Pandas. These are the two libraries that you cannot avoid. If you want to be in machine learning game, explore and take a deep interest in NumPy and Pandas. Now further, since machine learning is a game of numbers and numbers are not so easy to understand, we want some of the plottings of numbers, the graphs, the charts, pie chart, graph charts, however that is, we want some kind of depletion of these number into format of graphs. So Seaborn and Matplotlib are some of the favorite libraries that you might want to explore. I know these libraries are not so easy to pronounce, but they are super easy to understand if you have proper explanation and proper examples of them. Now your choice should be Jupyter Notebooks. I'm not saying it's the only choice, definitely there are a lot of other things as well, but Jupyter Notebooks are the most easiest one, and even if you look on the code that other people have written, they are usually in the Jupyter Notebook. Learning Jupyter Notebook is not so tough, but I think you should invest some time. So give yourself a free day or two to understand how everything is done in Jupyter Notebooks. Yeah, I can understand too much of the words that you don't even understand yet, but trust me, they are all easy. You will be absolutely fine. Just get started. I also do have a course on machine learning and data science in case you want to explore that. I'll link down that below on my website learncodeonline.in, but there is no rush on to that. In case you want to explore that through other books or other resource or other favorite instructor, that's fine too. As long as you are learning, that's totally okay, but still check out my course as well. So Python it is for you, but again I would say that don't take any language as your personal favorite. Don't abuse anyone because somebody is using other programming language. That's his choice. So learn to respect other choices as well. If you have chosen Python, that's great. That's amazing. And I'm so happy for you that you picked up this programming language. Now go ahead and make something amazing with that language. Learning just loops and if else is no good. So make something amazing and don't forget to share what you are building with me. I love to know the students' experience so that I can share them in front of everyone, inspire them, and probably can fill out some of the gaps that they feel that they are there. And I'm super happy that I'm able to create resources. When I look back at the old days when there were not so much resources online, not so many video creators talking about these languages and stuff, I feel so much happy that I'm one of the many persons who are trying to fill the gaps of programming barriers that are still there, and we are able to provide you more resources that you can enjoy, so easily accessible. Now obviously I definitely need one of your help in order to create more of such resources, and that help is sharing these videos. Now yes, I know I also love to share videos which are comedy or vines, but sharing these kinds of videos can help some of the other people who are looking up for programming resources. I know it may sound a little bit like, hey, why are you sharing programming videos on your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? But it can be a big help for somebody and for us as well. So don't even hesitate to share the videos and help the creators as well as some of the people who are looking for creators. And I'm pretty sure that you have already hit that subscribe button so that you are a part of this amazing programming family on this channel. I think we don't need to say it again. You have already done that subscribe thing. So I hope you have enjoyed the content on this particular video and the channel as well. In case you are enjoying it, hit that subscribe and like button as well. And I'm sure about one thing, we're gonna catch up in the next video for sure.
In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time.